A philosopher once told us that sometimes the simplest answer is the best place to start. So let's just start there. Real raw right now on roll coverage.
Roll coverage.
And let's just go with it. The easiest answer is the issues the Carolina Panthers are having is this guy right here. I genuinely don't know where to start with this. I've honestly recorded and deleted a few intros and everything of how I'm going to nuance this conversation, because if I'm going to be honest with you, it's a tough one, and it's one that I have been involved with since the start. I, of course, wanted to go in a different route when it came to quarterback, or to be honest with you, I really just wanted to start building up this team. I had no problem if we went 5 and 12 the next year or whatever it may be. But I don't necessarily think dropping a single quarterback into situations always solves it. And of course, we're seeing that at many different locations. Now, when quarterbacks are those guys, they're able to elevate everybody around them. And you know what? A guy like David Tepper, our, fearless owner, once called Bryce Young a point guard, said, hey, man, he's just going to have to go out there and distribute the ball.
The way he throws the ball, the way he's a point guard, how you can use the different players in the field, how you might not have to have as many elite receivers because he's the point guard, right? So he distributes the ball to people with routes. So you can save some money there. We believe we can save money other places because of him and put that money into the defensive side of the ball.
The difference is he didn't really give him the opportunity to have those top flight weapons like what he had in college. He didn't give him a top flight offensive line or Jahmyr Gibbs or any of the amazing pieces that he had. Instead, he came into a team where he was asked to not only elevate the talent, but he was asked to fix things that were going on behind the scenes. People don't remember Frank Reich, the head coach that originally got saddled with Bryce Young. And yes, I say saddled because it's pretty clear in the audio that we heard.
Appreciate you. We'll find a court. Play some horses. It's right here. Come on. Okay. Well, no, maybe I got to do a little meeting. We'll find a court. All right. See you, buddy. Now I'm going to take his money.
That, hey, man, he was anticipating coming to Carolina and working with McCown and Deuce Staley, the 3 guys that got fired in week 11, I believe it was. So if that's the case, that's the first head coach with Bryce Young. Hey, he tried to get it to work. Maybe the offense wasn't work because of, again, the Hunger Games going on behind the scenes. We had coaches going behind the head coach's back trying to get him fired. Like, it was absolutely crazy what was going on Bryce Young's first year. But you know what? He didn't do himself any favors. He didn't even come out there, and again, I can keep saying it, he didn't even get close to a guy like Daniel Jones's rookie year. Yes, he had an Odell Beckham Jr. But you know what, man? If you can't even compare yourself to Daniel Jones, I don't know where you want to have this conversation. We traded up for a number 1 quarterback, and I expected to get a number 1 quarterback. And unfortunately, I don't think we've gotten that so far. Again, going back to that game, I got the stats up right now. 18 of 30, 150 yards, and 1 touchdown. Yes, I understand. You're going to try and give me the argument. Scoreboard watching. Hey, dude, watched every snap live. Went on and talked about it afterwards. I've had multiple conversations with people. I've watched it now twice through. So don't tell me scoreboard watching. 18 of 30 is not good enough. Period. Especially 150 yards. You got to be kidding me, dude. The first touchdown, that initial scripted drive, is what got him the touchdown. And then every point after that, it seemed like Bryce just couldn't get it done. Now, don't get me wrong. There's times where pressure got through and everything like that. But there's a simple answer to that. The minute Andy Dalton stepped in, what was his stat line? 5 of 6 for 58 and a touchdown. Immediately, the guy who we all agree, and again, we all agree, me included, that Andy Dalton isn't the long-term solution. To be honest, I don't even think he's really that good now. But the fact that he's able to go in immediately and complete passes at a high level and get a touchdown, something that Bryce couldn't do off script, I think shows you a lot. I think it tells you a lot as well. I mean, I'm going to go out there and we're going to go look up the drives, okay? So here's the Carolina Panthers drives. So here we go. Carolina drive begins on the 24, 7 plays for 72 yards. And you know what? We end up with a touchdown. Next one, on our Carolina 23, so only a yard behind. 6 plays, 29 yards, so not anywhere close to the same level of production. Punt. Next one, Carolina 41. That's a massive jump forward. 6 for 18, even worse, and a punt. You know what? Let's do the next one. 33. You know what? Good field position. We go 9 for 25, and of course, we get that horrible missed field goal by Ryan Fitzgerald. My dude, Ryan Fitzgerald. Then, next drive, Carolina 25, 3 for 2. You got to be kidding me. And, of course, a punt. We got the ball on the 25, and we punted it from the 22. You got to be kidding me. Carolina 32 on the next drive. 6 plays for 14 yards and another punt. And you know what? That last one, end of the half. Not gonna say anything negative about that. But then we come back. And in the second half, how many times did we touch the ball? 4. Look at how many times we controlled the ball in the first. That's 7 different times. And at the end of the game, we had 4. Just blown away. Again, 7 yards. 7 plays, 33 yards. Turnover on downs. Start on the Carolina 1. So obviously bad field position. 3 for 8. Punt on the Carolina 5. Look at that. 6 for 34. Another turnover on downs. And then, of course, the Andy Dalton. 13 plays. 91 total yards. Touchdown. So you're going to sit here and look me in my face and tell me that the quarterback that continually goes out there, the quarterback that has a 3-1 record against the Atlanta Falcons and has a 4-17 or some crazy record against the rest of the NFL is somehow the quarterback of the future? I know everyone wants to give the blame to Dave Canales, and I understand that. I understand that you guys even want to take away his play calling, but you know what? Here's some tweets from Panthers fans who were upset at the play calling in the preseason, who hated the pre-calling in the preseason, and not only that, were vocal enough to go out there and tweet about it. Now imagine if a guy like Brad Idzik gets the keys to the car and it gets even worse. Then who are we going to blame? It's not Brad Idzik anymore. I mean, obviously play calling, again, comes into it. But can he somehow make Bryce worse? I mean, that's certainly possible. We've seen horrible quarterbacks in the NFL. But the moment Bryce has his moments, they quickly are fluttered away. So I hate having this conversation about Bryce Young. I hate that we're maybe thinking about another quarterback in the future. But you know what? I have to agree with something that a guy named Tim Donnelly, which I'm always going to shout out, 99.9 The Fan, said about aligning the franchise. I don't think this is the time to fire Canales if we're not going to fire Bryce, if we're not going to fire Dan Morgan, and we're going to completely reboot. I don't want to give Canales a quarterback, because if that quarterback doesn't work, we're going to fire the coach, and this whole thing is going to be rebooted. But you know what? I'm going to let Tim explain it best right here.
Okay, let's play the mind game. Let's do the first step. Fire the coach. All right, do we have a second step? Do we know someone out there that we realistically think we can hire that is a better coach? All right, now do the third step. And in the Panthers case, it would be, if we move on from Dave, are we ready to move on from Bryce? Are we ready to potentially move on from Dan Morgan? Because unless all of those are in alignment, there's a good chance you're going to be looking at a circle of trust, and there's going to be a link missing in the chain.
So yeah, here's the potential cycle you can go back down. We can probably dive in more of this later on. If you're the Carolina Panthers, could you fall into the trap of, okay, let's say you move on from Bryce, Dave Canales can bring in his own guy, and Dave Canales the team still fails. So then you move on from Canales and you're bringing in another coach, and that QB is not their guy. Then you get back into the cycle of it all again.
Their timelines aren't a lot. It's like 3 years for a coach and quarterback, right? If you draft highly a quarterback, unless it goes astronomically bad, you usually get 2.5, 3 years before you're fully 100% moved on. It's usually 2.5, 3 years if you do it right and give them the chance for a head coach. So if you started Bryce a year earlier than Dave, yeah, after this year, you're probably ready to either make a decision on Bryce or jump off the wagon there. And you're going, well, we really need to give Dave Canales one more year. All right, well, now Dave Canales gets, I don't know, Garrett Nussmeier, gets Lenora Sellers. And if it doesn't work for a year, you're going, well, we can't give up on the quarterback. But Dave's had now 3 years. It's time, and it never lines up. So somebody's going to get the raw end of the deal if you make the move.
And to me, that move is controversial. That move is to extend Bryce Young into his 5th year. Yeah, I said it. One of his most outspoken critics is saying right now that we should extend Bryce Young. But I think it's because of the reason that not a whole lot of people are understanding. I do think that Canales should get all of next year, and of course all of this year. I think that the offseason should be focused on fixing the problems that we currently see with this team. Not only the offensive line health, but offensive line depth. We need to address the linebacker. We need a free safety. To be honest, there's a few positions I'd really like to tackle rather than going out there and getting a quarterback. And if I trot Bryce Young out there for the rest of this year, I'll probably end up with a top 5 pick. If I add more pieces next year, maybe I have a top 10 pick. Maybe I'm finally starting to get out of that, and his team is finally starting to get better. And then you know what? When it's finally time to give Bryce Young that extension, when his 5th year is finally over, we go, you know what? Boom. Here comes the opportunity for a quarterback to actually have a rebuilt team, to actually get what everybody thought Bryce Young was getting when he came to Carolina. Weapons, a healthy offensive line, and a defense that can actually stop other teams. But until we make the decision to truly commit to the future, I think that we might be back on this treadmill. And unfortunately, I think Dennis and Tim really, really hit the nose on the head with that take. But I want to know your thoughts. Where do you think Carolina can fix the problem? Do you think it's more than just Bryce Young like I do? Do you think it's obviously influenced heavily by Bryce Young? Or do you think it has nothing to do with him? Do you think it's truly just everybody else? I want to know your thoughts in the comments right below. Can't wait to see you in the next one. Peace. I really appreciate you making it this far. It helps out the channel, and I cannot thank you enough. Hopefully one of these other videos are ones that you like as well, but if not, I can't wait to catch you in the next one. My name is Nick, and this has been Roll Coverage.